How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the show. Ask me anything about politics. You can ask me anything that you like about politics, and I will do my best to give you a great answer. I know that politics can be really intimidating if you don't know all that much about it, so I like to make myself available to answer your questions about it. There's no such thing as a dumb question, so you don't gotta worry about getting judged or ridiculed or nothing. You just gotta ask the question, and I will do my best to give you a great response. You know, politics can be really intimidating, can be really complicated, and so, you don't have to worry about seeming dumb or silly or ill-informed, because I am just here to answer all of your good faith questions about politics. There's no such thing as a dumb question, so you can go ahead and ask me anything that you like. It can be as simple or as complicated as you would like it to be. It can be about our current moment of politics. It can be about what's up, Samurai Destroyer. It can be about something that happened in political history. I will never pretend like I know something when I don't know something, so you don't got to worry about, whether or not the information you're getting here is accurate or not. I am just here to answer all good faith questions about politics. I have definitely been made to feel silly or ashamed for not knowing things about politics, and so I do not like the way that felt. And so I like to make myself available, and there's no ridiculing, there's no judgment. What's up, Fog of War Productions? Good to see you again. What's up, Samurai Destroyer? There's no judgments here. If you voted in the last election, if you didn't vote in the last election, if you're further to the right than me, if you're further to the left than me, I'm not going to wag my finger at you. I'm not going to tell you, well, you fucked around and now you found out. I am just here to answer your questions. Let's see here. Do you support individual owning business, like being an owner and CEO? Yeah, I think that as a country, we should probably do more to incentivize companies being employee-owned so that we have a fairer distribution of profits. But I also think there's probably some value in a free market capitalist system. There's no reason why we can't have a mixed system. We're currently living under a mixed system. We just need to, I think, rebalance the equation, so to speak. What's up, DJ? More breaks, please. I'm trying Twitch today. Well, good to see you over on a different platform, Patrick. Let's see here. Viking Adventure says, what up from Northern California? What up to you, Viking Adventure? Tim Huff says, thoughts on decentralized union-based economics, anarcho-syndicalism, de-Leonism? Yeah, those are all words. Randy, why is Elon in the government? Because Trump is a corrupt individual, and he likes the fact that Elon Musk has a lot of money so that he can, influence elections, and he's incredibly visible. He owns a massive propaganda network, which is very useful to Republican politicians. He is one of many billionaires that is intimately involved with the Trump administration, because that is what this administration is for. It is for the billionaires and fuck everybody else. Let's see here. Clovis LaRoche says, is it wrong to destroy Tesla? I don't condone violence of any kind, and that includes property damage. But, there are other things that we can do. We can encourage people not to buy Teslas. We can protest peacefully outside of Teslas. So I don't think it's wrong to, encourage people not to buy Teslas and to perhaps harm them as a company financially. But I don't condone any kind of, violence or destruction of property. Let's see here. Yang Ken Sheep says, will China invade Taiwan and will USA support Taiwan? That's a little outside of my knowledge base. Fog of War Productions, it's odd. We've had a Finnish tourist go missing in the mountains here in eastern Utah. I don't know anything about that Finnish tourist, but I did hear that there was a Welsh tourist that they had fucking tied up like she was Hannibal Lecter, because apparently she was here like on a visitor's visa, but she also had some sort of work agreement with her host family that she would watch the kids in exchange for free rent or something like that. So ICE just fucking hog-tied her like she was a fucking serial killer who was biting off people's fucking faces, and then shipped her back to fucking Wales or whatever, man. Unfucking believable. Let's see here. Jack says, is this a debating live? No, there's no debates on this channel. I am just answering questions. I don't really care for debates. It's really just two people who aren't trying to change their minds or learn anything, just butting heads the entire time. I'm open to new information, but I'm not here to fight people or own people or, be like, you're dumb for thinking this, you're so uninformed. Use a whole bunch of numbers. That's what's wrong with being a billionaire. There's a couple of things that are wrong with being a billionaire. Firstly, is that billionaires, by virtue of them having that amount of money, they're hoarding wealth that could be creating a stronger economy. Think about it like a closed weather system where rain falls down in the mountains, it goes down a stream, which eventually gets to the river, where it eventually gets to the ocean. It gets absorbed back into the sky in the form of clouds. The clouds move over the land, they rain down, and the whole thing cycles through again. But where you have droughts is where you have billionaires taking some of that water out of the system and just storing it and hoarding it like a fucking dragon from the Lord of the Rings universe, just like sitting on a fucking pile of gold. So that money could be out there starting new businesses or, hiring more workers, being invested in, infrastructure projects and stuff like that. But instead it's being hoarded. That's problem number one. Problem number two is that these billionaires, they know that what they're doing is hurting people and they don't give a shit. So what they do is they use their money to try to entrench the power that they have and try to continue hacking the system to their own financial benefit. So where, you've got some billionaires like Warren Buffett who are like, this system is unsustainable. Please tax me. I have plenty of money and I want my money to go towards helping everybody else not die of poverty on the fucking street. There are more billionaires. In fact, most of the billionaires use their money to try to say, hey, let's elect Republicans because they will cut our taxes and they will cut regulations, so we don't have to worry about polluting rivers and polluting the air, and we don't have to worry about having safety and oversight and shit like that. That's just one of many problems of what the deal is with billionaires. G Greasy Mom says, so what is the ideal wealth? I think the answer to that question is not this. And so where people on the right will sometimes try to do gotcha questions like, well, what's the right amount then? If you can't pick a number, then what's the right amount? The right amount is not this. So why don't we start with saying that no human can have $1 billion? I think people would be fine with 999 million. And then we'll see what happens after that, Maybe we could have it so that the top paid person at a company can't make more than 100 times the lowest paid employee. Because right now, CEOs are making 900 times more than their lowest paid employee. Let's just try rebalancing things and see if that helps. And then we can make adjustments from there. All right, back over on Twitch. We've got, in a capitalist society, you're allowed to own a business as an individual, like being a CEO and an owner, and you are allowed to own a worker co-op. In a socialist society, you are only allowed to do a worker co-op, not allowing individual owning a business, being a CEO and a owner. Samurai Destroyer, you're assuming that these systems are mutually exclusive. But we are living through a time when mixed systems are plentiful, Every country that has privatized, public health care is more socialist than we are. And every country that has more employee-owned companies is more communist than we are. But there has never been a country that is fully socialist or fully capitalist or fully communist. Let's see here. I'm actually on my way to sit in front of a Tesla in Charlotte right now. Great. I'm so happy to hear that you're doing a protest, DJ Moore. Did you hear the story about the Canadian levy that was held for 2 weeks and had everything in order? It literally is bullshit. I think that more people should be upset about this. I think that more people should be upset about the fact that ICE is a rogue agency that is just fucking snatching people off the streets and throwing them to a detention with zero oversight. It's completely lawless and unconstitutional and a massive human rights violation. It's fucked up. It's fucked up that ICE has taken people who they have not provided any evidence that they have done any crimes or have a criminal record or anything and shipped them to a fucking, prison work camp in El Salvador. It's unfucking believable. It is terrifying to think that could happen to any fucking one of us. Here's the thing, there's we're all worried about identity theft, but the part of the thing that protects us from identity theft is that there's just so many people to steal from that many of us just skate by, just not being, your number just hasn't come up yet, That's the way we should all be thinking about ICE, is that you are just so lucky to have not gotten into their crosshairs. But any one of us could be, especially if you're somebody who has a social media platform where you have said any negative thing about Donald Trump or a negative thing about Elon Musk or a negative thing about any Republican, or, you know, you've said anything positive about Bernie Sanders or AOC or Chuck Schumer or a Democrat or CNN or MSNBC or anything, you could potentially be a target. And that is completely fucking terrifying. So think about me, guys, with a fucking 145,000 followers on TikTok, coming on here every fucking workday talking about how fucking lawless and terrible the Trump administration is. Like, it's only a matter of time before they come around, you know, before they fucking burst out my door and shit like that. It's a fucking nightmare, and everybody should be worried and incensed about this. All right, back over to TikTok. Cold Noses says, will Congress agree to dissolve the Department of Education? Probably not. They would need some Democratic votes. Right now, the worry is that they would do this illegally, because they've already been doing a lot of illegal things. Everything that Doge has done, every cut, every person that they have fired is massively illegal, and yet they are still doing it just to see what they can get away with. So yeah, I think it's extremely unlikely that this happens the right way through legislation. It's probably unlikely that it happens at all, but they might do some version of this where they just start firing people indiscriminately. I don't know if you guys saw this story. There was a nonprofit, non-government organization, what's called an NGO, non-government organization, that was invaded by Doge. And the people that worked there they called the cops, and they were like, these people do not have any authority to come in here and start firing people and start going through our shit. And then the cops showed up and they sided with Doge. Like, what? Like, are we so fucking down the rabbit hole that we can't even fucking trust the cops to abide by the law, man? Like, this is the scary time, guys. Like, we're in the fucking quiet place or wherever it's called. We're in the upside down. We're in the mirror zone. What's the place from Get Out? You know, we're in the sunken place. We're in the fucking sunken place right now. Let's see here. Dayasinon says, the people voted, stop crying. Only 23% of the people voted for this. So yeah, I'm not crying. I'm warning. All right, scrolling down to the bottom. User a whole bunch of numbers says, why is Trump so stupid? I mean, he probably does too much Adderall and it's put a bunch of holes in his noodle or something. Daniel Lehman says, thoughts on lowest approval rating of all time for DE. I wonder if that's supposed to be DEI. If people don't like DEI, it's because they don't know what it is. It's because they've been misinformed. Daniel Lehman says, thoughts on Democrats having the lowest approval rating of all time. Again, misinformation, propaganda. People are unaware of the good things that Democrats have done for them, and they are unaware of how much worse the Republican Party is. Damien says, Trump is the most successful president in history. That is a fact. That is not a fact, Damon. Also, ask a question, or you're going to get blocked. You know? I don't care if you have different opinions than me, but actually ask a question. Be part of the conversation. Aloysius B. Hughes says, you're still in the lefty snowflake zone. All right, well, that's another example of a comment that gets you blocked. You know, I'm not here to fight, guys. I'm here to answer questions. Blanca Catherine says, what do you think about the measles outbreak? This is what happens when you defund the government, when you keep people in charge of the government and put people in charge of health and human service and safety who do not give a shit about science and actually protecting people. RFK Jr., Donald Trump, Elon Musk are all out there saying, we do not give a shit if you die. We don't care. We don't care if your kids die. We don't care if your kids are crippled by fucking preventable diseases, but we think it'd be cooler if these diseases just sort of like ran rampant and just killed a whole bunch of people. You know, what we would like, our ideal universe is what RFK is saying, is that you guys are all so fucking crippled by trying to take care of your sick children who are dying of preventable diseases that you are not able to have a regular ass life. Let's see here. All right. Marcus Big D says, not facts, your ignorant opinion. That's not my ignorant opinion, Marcus, and also that's not a question, so you're out of here. All right, scrolling down to the bottom. Cold Noses, if Democrats make gains in 2026, can they file impeachment charges for Trump to find the courts? They 100% can, and they 100% should. I know it's a long shot, but we should 100% be trying to not just win back the House, but take over the Senate and potentially get an impeachable, a filibuster-proof supermajority in the Senate. That is the best possible scenario. And again, I know it's unlikely, but if we activate the people that we need to activate, if we wake up people to what this administration is doing, to the dangers and illegality and inhumanity and unconstitutionality of this administration, then we can do it. Those votes are out there for us to get. We just have to be out there correcting all this misinformation, informing people, and getting them on board and getting them registered to vote, and making sure that they are just keeping their fucking eyes peeled and making sure that their voter registrations don't get like illegally, canceled or fucking whatever. Fog of War Productions says, who do you think the Democrats will back for POTUS in 2028? So two things about that. Number one, I get that question a lot, and I always punt it because I don't really give a shit about wish casting for 2028. Let's fucking win these elections that are coming up. We've got a Supreme Court seat that Elon is trying to buy right now in Wisconsin. That is up for, we got to get people to go out and vote for against the fucking Elon candidates. We've got 3 special elections coming up on April 1st, 2 in Florida, 1 in New York. And so and those are also kind of long shots because those are deep red districts. But if you live in those areas, fucking do the work, man. Get those votes. We can take those if we just convince enough people to vote for Democrats. And then we also got the midterms in 2026. That's number 2. But here's the third thing I want to say about that, which is that the Democrats, they do put their weight behind candidates sometimes, the Democratic Party, but it is just a primary process. Like, it is up to the voters. So, yeah, the DNC might have their favorite, and it'll probably be some, fucking super old establishment centrist candidates. But if we, the people, want a more progressive candidate to be the presidential nominee, then we should go out there and fucking do the work and try to convince people to vote for that person instead. Let's see here. Ya says, are you automatically disagree with anything the Trump administration decides? No, but here's the thing. Like, it takes a lot of brain power to go through every fucking thing. And if you recognize a pattern, it's easy to see, like, oh, this guy, 90% of the shit that he says is bullshit, so now I can just assume that everything he's saying is bullshit instead of taking it at face value. B. Smith says, how far into the oligarchic are we? I'd say probably like 95%. Stevie D says the Democrats are eating themselves alive, 27% approval rating. Keep it going, liberals. Again, that's not a question. So you are out of here. Let's see here. Steiner says, do you think that it's possible to start a new political party that could beat out the current 2? I don't, and I'll tell you why. Because almost no political party has done the work of building up the kind of national support to beat out the 2 main, ascendant parties. The Green Party, the Libertarian Party, they're not doing the fucking work. All they do is they do these fucking bullshit, ego-driven cash grab runs for president every 4 years that they just act as spoiler candidates and then they fucking disappear with our money every 4 years. The Working Families Party is doing this the right way, but it takes time and it takes work to build a political party that can win on the national stage. So, yeah, if a fucking Green Party candidate starts talking to you, or a fucking Libertarian candidate starts fucking talking to you about, no, we really can do it this year, or vote for us, you'll send a message to the 2-party system that you're upset about it, they're lying to you, they are full of shit. They are doing the job of the billionaire class and the Republican Party. G. Greasy Mom says, every president since Reagan wanted to break up the Department of Education since Biden. That is a lie, J. Greasy. Which Whim 72 says, what is your take on Trump firing the chair of the Joint Chiefs of Staff? That's what fucking dictators do. That's some real fucking, Schnazi shit going on there, where you have people who have been working for the military and all the various branches for their entire lives, and they have a respect for the institutions, and they have a respect for the Constitution, and so they will not, if told to do something illegal, just go ahead and do it. That doesn't work for dictators. So what they do is they fire those people and they put in those positions instead, people that will just do whatever they say. So if Donald Trump tells the militaries, let's go invade Los Angeles because I don't like how they voted, the guy who's now in charge of the military will say, yes, sir, you got it. And that is a fucking nightmare scenario that we should all be worried about and be fucking super activated about. The Ilmoth over on YouTube says, thoughts on the JFK files still being fully released. They were supposed to be a total release of 80K pages, but on 60K pages were released. So 2,600 files out of 3,000. I'm not really like deep in the weeds on the JFK conspiracy theories or the things that have been released. When there are these massive document dumps, like I'm not going to read all of them and try to parse out what it means. So yeah, I'm kind of more focused on the things that are affecting people's real lives today. The fact that they're firing people who are protecting us from, financial malfeasance by big banks and shit like that. The fact that they are weakening unions and worker protection rights so that these fucking billionaires can continue turning the screws on us and making us more desperate and our lives fucking worse. No Tino shade, Ilmoth. I love you. Thank you for being here. But yeah, as far as the JFK files, I kind of don't give a shit. Let's see here. Samurai Destroyer says, I do believe there are issues with both Democrats and Republicans. I agree with you, Samurai Destroyer, but the problem is that the issues with Republicans are so much bigger than the issues with the Democrats that it's like, why even fucking bother bringing it up? You know, like what the Republican Party is doing is so jaw-droppingly wrong, is hurting so many people, is so illegal and unconstitutional, violates so many of our human rights, and violates so many of our civil rights, is ruining our country in a way that we're not going to be able to fix in just a 4-year term. They are throwing out medical research like we were close to having cancer vaccines that they just threw out all the research for, and these doctors are like, that was 30 years of work. We're going to have to fucking start from scratch now. That's the shit that I'm concerned about. That's the shit that I think people should be so fucking pissed about that we should be fucking, raising hell in the streets. Rory BB says, do you believe in the argument that red states are economically better? I do not. There is no substantive data to support that. Red states are subsidized by blue states because we put more into the federal economy than red states do. So they exist through our fucking good graces in the blue states. All of your fucking bridges in red states, all your fucking hospitals and schools and roads are paved with dollars from blue states, so you're fucking welcome. Sorry, I'm a little spicy today, guys. I read the news and it got me in the mood. Yeah, says, are you saying you just make assumptions based on what you've seen and don't research propaganda? No, I do a ton of research, yeah. Grant W says, billionaires exist on both sides of the aisle. It's disingenuous to state otherwise. Yeah, they do, but there's a difference of scale, Grant W. 75% of all billionaire donations went to Republican candidates in 2024. The billionaires that support the Democratic Party do it out of a sense of morality and justice. The billionaires that support Republicans do it out of self-interest because the Republican Party's platform is pro-billionaire. They cut taxes for the 1% while raising taxes on the rest of us, and they cut regulations for their giant fucking corporations so they can make even more fucking money, even if it means poisoning our water, poisoning our air, making our food less safe to eat, making our medications less safe to eat, making our planes less safe to fucking fly in, so you can miss me with that both sides bullshit. Again, I apologize. I'm a little cranky today, guys. Sorry if I'm coming off a little spicy. Morally superior vegans say, is this guy political? Cesar Valdez says, libs are still mad. Yeah, well, I'm mad that, people are getting fucking disappeared by this government. If Nazis don't make you mad, then what else? What would make you mad, Dana Pinkard says, Dems did that. No, they didn't. Again, that's a block. Go cry more. Again, that's a block. Ask a question if you want to disagree with me. Sherry says, don't the billionaires already pay enough? No, they do not. And my evidence of that is that there are people who are starving, people who can't pay their fucking medical bills, people who can't pay their fucking rent, while these billionaires are sitting on their fucking 12th mega golden yacht and stomping on their fucking necks with their diamond-encrusted boots. If they paid enough, they wouldn't have as much as they had, and we wouldn't all be fucking struggling to make ends meet. Let's see here. Mark LG Painting says it's the corrupt taxation and FDA that prevents us from growing our own meds. That is inaccurate, Mark LG. Reviews with Faye Renee says, who are you, Jarrett, and where have you been hiding all my life? You're amazing, learned, and real. Thank you, Reviews with Faye Renee. I've been here all the time. I am streaming 5 days a week, starting around 11:30 a.m. Pacific time. I'm a comedian and I do politics. Welcome, everybody. You can ask me anything that you like. There's no judgments. There's no debating. There's no roasting. Sometimes I get a little spicy with the trolls in my comments, but if you ask in good faith, even if you are a Trump supporter, I will answer you in good faith. That is my promise to you. There's no such thing as a dumb question. I am here to help you get into the world of politics if you don't know anything about it. I know it can be really intimidating. It can be like trying to learn a new language sometimes. So I am just here to clear up some things, help, correct some false narratives, help point out the propaganda and misinformation where I can. Ehan19 says, can you break down DEI? Absolutely. People think that DEI means that you are taking a well-qualified white person and throwing them in the garbage so that a not qualified brown or gay person or woman can get that job instead. But what we have a history of in this country is discriminatory hiring practices where mediocre white people will get jobs instead of overly qualified women and brown people and LGBTQIA. DEI tries to reverse that trend where now we have positions that are being staffed by people who actually are overly qualified for those jobs, and mediocre white people are now not getting those jobs instead. Let's see here. Richard Forster says, can the Democratic Party recover from this Republican disaster? Yes, they can, but it's going to take a while because, again, the damage that Trump is doing is incalculable, and it's going to take a really long time to fix. But the bigger problem is that the Democratic Party doesn't have the same resources available to them as the Republican Party does. Because again, the Republican Party is fully in bed, not just with billionaires in this country, but also with billionaires in fucking hostile foreign nations like Russia. Vladimir Putin is one of the richest people to have ever existed, and he is helping to elect Republicans, along with other fucking billionaire pieces of shit like Elon Musk and Peter Thiel and Donald Trump himself. There's a reason why Donald Trump's cabinet has more billionaires in it than any presidential cabinet in history. It's because they're all working together to fuck over the 99%. That's you, that's me, that's everybody that you know and fucking care about. But yeah, so how do we fix that problem then? How do we fix the problem if the Democrats don't have the resources to go to battle against the richest people that have all ever existed, all working together and pooling their money together and resources, where even if we all pulled our money and resources together, it wouldn't even be a fraction of what they fucking have. The one advantage that we have that they don't have is people. We have more people than they do. We have more people than they do by a lot. And so even though we're all fucking struggling to survive under this cost of living crisis, we all have to do the work. But the good news is that if we all do the work, then none of us have to do a lot of work. You know, I do as many canvassing shifts as I fucking can, and we still lost the 2024 election. I would love to do less. I would love to do like 2 canvassing shifts and have just more people do that work, you know? And we also have to recognize that social media and mainstream media and right-wing media, like all of this, has been targeted and weaponized against the Democratic Party. People have a fake idea of what the Democratic Party is and what they've accomplished and what their performance records are and the outcomes, like life outcomes in blue states versus red states, and what their platform is going forward. Social media is lying to you about the culture of the left and about the progress of the left. And people don't have an accurate idea of how bad the Republican Party is and what they're doing to you to fuck you over right now. You know, I can draw a straight fucking line for whatever it is that is bothering you in your life to some billionaire piece of shit that Republicans are enabling right now. So yeah, we have to do the work. We have to do the work of organizing. We have to do the work of protesting, of putting political pressure on our elected representatives. We have to do the work of recruiting other people into this fight and correcting narratives, making sure that your friends, your family, your loved ones, your neighbors, your coworkers, make sure that they are not just getting their news off of social media so that they have an inaccurate view of what politics is in this country. So yeah, that's how we all get out of this. That's how the Democratic Party gets out of this. I often opine about how our political system is rigged against the Democratic Party. The shorthand is it is way easier for Republicans to get elected because of things like the Electoral College and gerrymandering and the Senate map, and the fact that the Democratic Party is a big tent, so it's a lot harder to coalesce when your big group is made up of a bunch of little groups. Alice says the Republicans think the Democrats are getting misinformation. Yeah, but they've been fed propaganda. And when you get fed propaganda, you think everybody else is crazy. Just Cause says constant misinformation being repeated in the comments by alleged or purported conservatives. Yeah, these people that you're seeing in the comments that are conservative, just imagine that they're not real people. Because even if they are potentially paid bots. They are potentially people that were tricked by paid bots. And if you are a right-leaning person and you see somebody who's annoying in the comments and is the left-wing person who is yelling at you about something, that person's probably not real either, because it is beneficial for billionaires to get us to fight amongst each other. So you just have to imagine that a billionaire paid somebody to pretend to be a left-leaning blue-haired, activist who is wagging their finger at you and calling you a jerk and stupid and ugly and stuff like that. That is the most productive way to look at it, even if we're talking about a difference of 1% to 2% being actual real people and being bots. Shez Haraz says, I didn't vote because of Harris's stance with Israel. Did you overlook that part? No, I didn't, because Trump is worse. Shed Harazad, Trump is worse. Trump is actively worse, like right now. We are seeing it play out in real time. I would still rather have Harris. I would still rather have fucking Biden for the sake of people in Palestine, Do you not see that? Sherazad said, I didn't vote for him either. Yeah, but you not voting for Harris helped elect Trump. A lot of people got tricked, Sherazad. I'm not blaming you for this. A lot of people got tricked by the same misinformation that somehow we would be protecting the people of Palestine by not electing Kamala Harris. Well, Trump is openly calling for ethnically cleansing Palestine so that he can get in there and build a bunch of shitty-ass Trump resort casinos and shit like that. Is that better for the people of Palestine than what Harris would have done? No. 100% no. And so, yeah, I sympathize. Like, that's part of the reason why that was such powerful propaganda, was that it was based in truth. The Biden administration should not have been continuing to support Israel. The Biden administration should not have been sending them money and weapons after they had been found guilty of doing war crimes. But the fact of the matter is better and worse is worse. And we should always vote for better, even if it's not perfect. It is the height of fucking egotism to think that it is only the most perfect candidate who aligns with you 100%, who has never done anything wrong, that you will deign to vote for. When you think about the people that this administration is hurting, and think about the ego that made you think that your vote was so precious and wonderful and unblemished that you wouldn't deign to give it to anybody. You know? Again, I'm not saying you, man. I'm just saying like that ethos in general is what I'm roasting. Let's see here. Tina the Endless says the billionaires behind Republicans are sick. I left the party because of it. Completely agree with you there, Tina the Endless. Somebody pointed this out to me the other day, where these pieces of shit who make all this money, people say, oh, they got the Midas touch, like it's a good thing. And they say, oh, they got the Midas touch. Everything he does turns to gold. It's so fucking incredible. Like, do you actually read the fucking story? Like, that is a horror story. The Midas touch was a curse. He touched his like children and his wife and they turned to gold, and he was like, no. It was like the end of a fucking Twilight Zone episode, and now everybody's like saying the Midas touch like it's a fucking good thing. These people are sick. They fucking have greed sickness. They got fucking money poisoning. Let's see here. Don, is Trump's alignment with Putin or the control of Musk the bigger concern? I mean, I think they're both equally concerning. You know, the fact that the billionaire community and the Republican Party and hostile foreign nations like Russia are all working together to ruin our fucking lives and dismantle our government. Like, that should be massively concerning to every human being on the planet. My apologies to Twitch and YouTube. It seems like you guys are doing a great job chatting over there, but we are really fucking popping off on TikTok, so I want to stay in here for a hot second. Cold Nose, it says, is Twitter really worth $44 billion, or has Musk been over-leveraged his debt? It is 100% not worth $44 billion. He paid that money so that he could have control of a propaganda network. It is a calculation that billionaires have been making in this country for a long time. Like Breitbart and Fox and One America News and all that shit, they don't make money. They exist because they're being subsidized by the billionaire class, but they recognize that it's valuable in being able to spread misinformation and propaganda to prop that shit up. Elon Musk made the exact same calculation. I don't know exactly if he's still in debt or if his Tesla shares are still tied into him owning Twitter or whatever. But yeah, that platform paid for it fucking self, because now he owns the White House. He has purchased an American president, and he is going to make fucking gobs of money giving himself government contracts while canceling programs that are investigating him. He is stealing your tax dollars and putting it into his pocket while cutting services that you need to make your life easier, and the people that you know and love can't survive without. We're fucking out. You know, Medicare, Medicaid, the Department of Education, Social Security, the Consumer Financial Protection Board, like all of these are programs that are designed to help protect the 99% from the 1%. And Elon Musk is crushing all that so that him and his buddies can be fucking richer. It's disgusting, it is pathetic, and it should incense every human being in this country. Robert Maui says, a multi-billionaire does not need your money. It's true, they don't, but they want it because they are sick, because they have a fucking sickness in their brain. They're like money addicts. You wouldn't put a fucking cokehead in charge of the strategic coke reserves, would you? That's what these money people are. They're like, they have a hole in their chest where their heart should be, that they're trying to fill with every fucking piece of dollar and cent and resources that available is there. You know, and every time they put more in, the hole just gets bigger and bigger. So yeah, they have a lot and they don't need more, but that is not going to stop them from trying to steal it from you. Your last fucking quarter that you needed to buy a fucking bottle of water so you wouldn't fucking die of dehydration. They will steal that from you, and then they will spit on your fucking face. They don't give a shit, man. Mystic Skelly says, we'd still be in company towns if it were up to them. Yeah, you know, anybody ever read The Grapes of Wrath? You know, Grapes of Wrath, fucking Asphalt Jungle, you know, what's the fucking Triangle Shirtwaist Factory, the river that was on fire because of pollution. Like, how many more examples do we need that these rich people don't give a shit about us as long as they make a ton of money? Let's see here. John Prince says they climbed the ladder and now they pulled it up behind him. Completely agree. Colton Esposito says, you are lost. Wake up. I don't know who you're talking to, buddy. Gerald Lilly says, do you think violence may be the only way to change our government if courts fail? No, Gerard Lilly, I do not condone any kind of violence. I don't condone it because it is disruptive. It also hurts people that don't need to be hurt. But also it radicalizes more people on the right. When we do violence, they show you that violence on the news and they go, look, we need a strong leader who will stop this chaos from happening. There's a reason why right-wing networks are always painting blue cities as these like apocalyptic road warrior fucking water world, lawless, you can't get off the fucking subway, you'll get stabbed with a fucking AIDS needle and shit like that. Everything's on fire. It's all garbage and homeless encampments, when if you actually go there, you're like, oh, it's actually really nice here. That's why it's so expensive, because everybody wants to live here, you know? So yeah, when we do violence, we fall into that narrative. And here's the other thing is, like, they'll do the violence and then blame us. During the Black Lives Matter protest, the FBI did an investigation into how all of that destruction of property and, you know, rioting happened, and they found that 95% of it was either instigated or done by right-wing actors who were trying to paint a negative picture of BLM. So yeah, don't fall into that frame. There are other ways that we can assert our power: protesting, boycotting, striking, organizing, political pressure. There are great groups that are doing this already. Indivisible, Run for Something, Vote Save America. Like, just do the work. Talk to people. Make sure that they're on board. Make sure that they're on the same page. Make sure that people are activated and ready to vote. And we all have levers of power that we can use. We are all 6 degrees of separation from somebody who controls voting mechanisms or works with the FBI or is in the military. Just make sure that you are talking to those people and being like, you'll stand up for us, right? Like, you will not do something illegal if Trump tells you to do it, right? Right? Shit like that. Ring Queen says Elon is behind all the crimes against Tesla. I mean, I haven't seen any substantive evidence to suggest that, but I wouldn't be surprised if he was fucking firebombing his own his own Tesla dealerships. Louis says, how can we get Musk out and held accountable? The same thing I've been talking about, Louis. Voting, protesting, boycotting, striking, organizing. You got to talk to people in real life. You got to make sure that you are correcting people's propaganda and misinformation. Make sure people aren't getting their news off of social media, putting public pressure on elected representatives, and voting. There are 85 million people in this country who could have voted in 2024 and just decided not to. And that is the reason why we're in this fucking piece of shit mess right now. So yeah, let's go find those fucking voters. Let's go fucking activate and strike and let them know that we're not going to fucking put up with this shit. Slick says, I saw people getting kicked out of restaurants for wearing MAGA or FDT. Can private businesses do that? They can, and they absolutely should. Like, I wouldn't let somebody walk into my bar if they were wearing a fucking swastika hat. You know, it's the same shit as wearing a MAGA hat. Cross says, how do you think Trump is doing right now? Terribly. I think he's doing really bad. Polycat says, if our votes do not count anymore, we take to the streets. You know, we fucking take to the streets because, again, voting is a sacred right. And if they try to take away from us, we need to raise hell. John Nald says, there aren't enough of you guys to try and vote. There are plenty. There are lots. There are more of us than there are Republican voters. I guarantee you that. Mac Daddy Shrimp 69 says, do you wish to live in a world with only leftist policies? Yeah. Because they're the only ones that are reasonable, my man. And I'm happy to go into that in detail if you like. Ring Queen says, Jill Stein voters are also responsible. Yeah, I vaguely agree with that. But again, the voters are not the problem. They're just the ones that got tricked. The people that are the problem are the ones who are the liars and the ones that are the cheaters. The billionaires and the Republican Party that is working in league with them. Kay says, what about him running for a third term? He's going to try. I don't know how he's going to try. I don't know if he's going to get away with it. But it is his singular desire to become president for life and to die in office. And he wants to hand the presidency down to his children the way that kings used to hand down the regency to their fucking shitty-ass entitled princes and princesses. Lever 2K says, thoughts on cuts to the Department of Education? They're going to do it. It's going to hurt a lot of people. It's going to make education harder to get for marginalized groups of people. Education is one of the ways that people recognize misinformation and propaganda, which is why billionaires and the Republican Party want to dismantle education so that it is easier to trick people. Reed 8080 says, what evidence do you have that he will run again? Just everything he's ever said and done in his entire fucking life. Every time he makes a joke about running for a third term, the fact that he incited a coup to try to steal the 2020 election. Yeah, January 6th is all the evidence that I fucking need. I don't know why that nobody else gave a shit about that. Let's see here. Penetrator says, are most billionaires Democrats? No, they are not. Most billionaires are Republicans. There are some very visible billionaires who are Democrats. But no, 75% of all billionaire donations went to Republican candidates in 2024. Stephanie says, thoughts on tariffs coming up. Will he delay them again? I have no idea. He is a fucking chaos agent who does not give a shit about consistency or truth or what's going to hurt people or what's going to hurt our allies and our neighbors and shit like that. So yeah, they'll be on, then they'll be off. Part of the reason why he likes tariffs is because it's another avenue for corruption where a company can bribe him to exempt them specifically from those tariffs. So he likes to put them on again and then off again to let people know, like, hey, man, I am willing to fucking dance. I'm willing to fucking play ball. But it's just going to hurt. It's just going to hurt. The tariffs hurt, and also the inconsistency hurts. Because now farmers can't plan for what their next crop season is going to look like. They can't invest in whatever seeds or equipment they were going to buy because they don't fucking know. They have no idea what their overhead is going to be. And every company is like that right now. They're just going like, So yeah. Kinger says, there is not even that many billionaires. Why does everyone talk about it so much? There's over 1,000 billionaires just in America. So yeah, there's a ton of billionaires. And they have so much money, Kinger, that it doesn't matter that there's only 1,000 of them. If there was one person in this country that had 99% of the money and we were all fucking surviving on scraps and dirt, would you then turn around and say, there aren't even that many billionaires, it's just that one guy, Reed 8080 says, we have had tariffs on us for years, so why not make it fair? It was fair, Reed. We had trade agreements with these countries already. Trump decided to start a trade war for absolutely zero fucking reason. The trade agreements that we had with Canada and Mexico were the ones that he negotiated in his first term. So if he thought they were bad, he's talking about a bad deal that he negotiated. And if he wants to negotiate a new deal, then do that. But all he's doing right now is trying to ruin our economy, the Canadian economy, the Mexican economy. He's trying to create enemies out of allies so that he can justify going to war over annexing and invading our neighbors. That's why he's always talking about taking Greenland over and shit like that. This is what he wants to do. He wants to be a dictator that takes over the entire Western Hemisphere. Let's see here. Raised by Waves says, being that he is corrupt, what are we going to do about it? Raised by Waves, it's time for me to do my speech again. Organizing, protesting, boycotting, striking. We got to talk to people in real life. We got to make sure that people aren't getting their news off of social media because social media is the Wild West. It is just propaganda narratives, misinformation, and disinformation. Talk to people, organize people, recruit people, put pressure on our on our elected representatives, and vote, vote, vote. And if they try to cancel our votes, if they try to do fucking shenanigans, we fucking take to the streets and we fucking raise hell. And we strike. And we protest. And we boycott. And we do all the work. We got to do the work. And we got to all do it. Because if we all do it, then nobody has to do a lot of work. Everybody just has to do a little bit of work. Let's see here. What else? Yeah. All right. Kim Tight says, we don't have elected representatives. They don't represent us. Yes, they do. The Republicans don't, but they were elected. I don't know what you're talking about. Voodoo Child said, stop Musk in his pocket, storm the White House. I don't know if that's going to help, Voodoo Child. Swamp Ass says, yeah, they do all the burning and looting. I don't know what you're talking about, Swamp Ass. JML says, national strike is the last nonviolent solution left. I completely agree. I'm down with a national strike. There's a massive Tesla protest happening on... where the fuck is that Tesla strike that's happening? I think it's the 29th. I think it's March 29th. So yeah, everybody just go protest outside a Tesla dealership, my man. Risa says they aren't listening to their constituents, is what they said. Yeah, but they work for us. So force them to listen to you. Go to their offices, flood their phone lines. The more that they batten down the hatches and say, we're not listening to you guys, the harder we need to work. And the more we need to show people, look, these are the people that are supposed to be taking care of us and listening to us, and they are not. They are hiding. And they are locking the doors to their offices. Doesn't that fucking piss you off? Doesn't that make you angry? Doesn't it make you want to fucking do something? Let's get more voters. Let's get more people to get involved. The stronger that we are as an organized group, the weaker that they are. That's the reason why they're doing all this. That's the reason why they're trying to accumulate power and eliminate checks and balances, is because they know their positions are bad. They are weak. And what they're doing is trying to rig the system in a way that it doesn't matter that they are weak. Once they get control of all of the levers of power and they have fully, eliminated all checks and balances and shared government, then we won't be able to do anything about the fact that nobody likes what they're doing. So let's fucking showcase their weakness and get people to fucking vote against it. People need to stop putting up with this shit. You know what I mean? Let's see here. Sleepy says they try to keep us divided and fighting each other so we don't fight them. Yes, Sleepy. And I agree with that completely. I just want to make sure that you're not saying that both sides are the same, because Democrats are the better party by a light year. And so by saying they're trying to separate us left and right, there's a difference between saying that and saying that one party is better than the other, because one party is better than the other. Herman Sadei says, do you know Kurdistan? No, I do not. User a whole bunch of numbers says, can Trump be impeached? The Supreme Court, Congress, and Senate are majority Republicans. He can be impeached, but they're not going to. There's a difference between can and would. If we want to impeach Trump, which again, we 100% should, he has already done impeachable offenses, we need to vote for Democrats, and we need to vote for them en masse. I know it sounds unlikely, and it's going to be a lot of work, but let's make it our goal that we give Democrats both the House and a filibuster-proof majority in the Senate. Give them the power to not only impeach, but to remove Donald Trump and Elon Musk from the government. Let's do that. Let's make that our fucking goal, guys. And, we got 300 people here on TikTok. We got a couple of people over on Twitch and on YouTube. Let's all do the fucking work of getting these people on board, of getting other voters to join us, of getting other people to do the work of organizing. There's hundreds of millions of us that can change things if we do the work. And, part of that work is getting people to recognize what the truth is of what's going on. So you got to get them off of social media. Well, you can be on social media for fun things, but if they're saying something on there about politics, you got to make sure that they know that they got to take that with a massive fucking grain of salt. With a fucking mountain of salt. Piss Off Gen Xer says, Gay Valamont, Josh Weil, and Susan Crawford. Yes, the special elections that are happening on April 1st. Everybody get out there and organize and donate your money and your time to those campaigns. They're long shots because those are deep red districts, but we can win them if we do the work. So let's all fucking do the work, guys. Let's see here. Kim Tite says Democrats are not the opposition. Yes, they are, Kim Tite. They just don't have any political power to actually do anything as the party of opposition. Maybe if more people voted for them, they'd be able to stand up to Donald Trump. But again, they have zero political power thanks to not enough people voting for them. Ninja says, you voted John Biden. No, I did not. John Biden is not a person who was on the ballot. Baylor Renee says, do you think Schumer should have said no to the bill? It's difficult. That is a very difficult question. And the people who are making it seem like it is simple, I think are trying to deliberately misinform you. It was a tough call. And I think perfect evidence that it was a tough call was that there were people from both sides of the Democratic Party, both progressive and centrists, who allowed that vote to happen. Because it was just a rock and a hard place. Do we allow this shitty, terrible CR to pass? Or do we allow Trump and Musk to shut down the government and then just never fucking open it again? Because that is their expressed desire, to just completely eliminate the government entirely. So they made a tough call. Now, do I think it was the right call? I don't know. I'm like 60% they should have let the government shut down, because then the conversation would have been about what this shutdown is doing to this country, as opposed to the conversation being about, did Democrats cave? Are they too weak? Are they not standing up strong enough? You know, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, I mean, I see this fucking shit all day, every day, where Republicans are doing things that are unbelievably evil and illegal and unconstitutional, and yet all that people are talking about is, are Democrats doing enough to stop this? And it's like, motherfucker, you all didn't vote for them. I don't know what you want them to do. They don't have any fucking political power. You know, why don't we write a fucking story about the fact that the Republican Party cut funding for pediatric cancer research? Why aren't we talking about the fact that cutting USAID means that we are strengthening terrorist organizations, and everybody in this country is more susceptible to getting diseases from other countries like Ebola and fucking Marburg virus? Why are we talking about the fact that there's a tuberculosis epidemic happening, and you know, fucking treatment-resistant tuberculosis is on the rise because of changes that the Republican Party has made to our government? Why aren't we talking about the fact that planes are fucking falling out of the sky because they've made so many cuts to the fucking Federal Aviation Administration? Like, those are the stories, not, are Democrats not fighting hard enough? Should they have allowed the CR to pass? Etc., etc. I know I'm being a little spicy here today, but I just want to let everybody here know that I'm not mad at you guys. I'm just expressing some well-earned rage, you know? And I also, I don't stream on the weekends, so I gotta get this all out of my system before Monday, or my fucking head's gonna explode. Jeff says, is there anything the judicial branch can do to get him out of office? They can, but they won't. That's kind of like a two-part answer, all right? So the judiciary can stand up to Trump, and they can, you know, reverse decisions, or they can, you know, declare, you know, things that Trump is doing, he has to stop doing them and stuff like that. But the issue is that all of the enforcement arms of the government are now under the control of Trump and Elon Musk. So there's that famous, you know, like moment in, I think, Andrew Jackson's presidency where he said, like, the Supreme Court has made their decision, now let them enforce it. As if to say, what are you going to do about it? I know what you said, that doesn't mean I have to fucking do it. So yeah. They could help, but they're not going to. And even if they did do it, then we would just be in this kind of like weird stalemate between the judiciary and the White House being like, force us to do what you told us to do, you know? It's scary, man. It is really fucking scary. Remington Shear says, why do you think Democrats' approval is 27%? Propaganda and misinformation. Cold Noses says, are you aware that USDA and HHS are doing nothing to stop H5N1 from spreading? This is huge. I am aware of that, Cold Noses, and it's part of the reason why I still wear a fucking mask to this day. Because they are just letting diseases run rampant in this country. RFK Jr., you know, everybody's fucking worried about food prices and egg prices. RFK Jr. just said, we should let all the birds get bird flu, and then we'll be able to figure out which ones are immune to bird flu. And that'll make food prices come down, don't you think? If all the fucking birds die, wouldn't that be a better world that we're living in? Also, let's just let that disease run rampant so that it can mutate, and then we can get it also. And then cows can get it, and dogs can get it. That'd be so great if everybody just got this really terrible new bird flu, that it was so all over the fucking place that it kept on mutating and beating our vaccines and shit like that. Like, it is so fucking myopic and short-sighted and unscientific what he's saying is like the better health policy for the country. It just boggles the mind that people fucking fell for this shit, you know? Polycat says, cows are already getting it. Yeah, but I think there's like other mutations that haven't happened yet, from like cows to people, or birds to people, or person to person, you know, shit like that. So yeah, there is still ways for this to get worse, unfortunately. Jan Full Tech 74 says, that's what the docs say is happening. I'm not really sure. Remington is share says 27% and dropping. Yeah, again, propaganda, misinformation, Remington Shire. I don't know what you think you're proving with that number. Inspirations by Leslie Ann says, I follow science magazines and I learned a lot. That's good. Dan Blackwood says, I'm moving into a locked safe. Good night, everyone. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not trying to scare you guys into inactivity. I'm trying to scare you guys into activity. I'm trying to scare you guys into momentum and not say, we're so scared, let's just hide under the blanket, you know? It is not game over yet. We still have agency here. We can still change things, but we have to do the work. The reason why I did so many canvassing shifts to try to win 2024 was so that we would not be here. Because there's more work to be done now than if Harris had won the fucking presidency and if Democrats had had the House and the Senate. We would not be here right now. The more work we do right now, the less work we have to do in the future. It's like brushing your teeth every day as opposed to needing a fucking root canal every year. Let's do the work now. Let's do the preventative work now so that we don't have to fucking fight the military, next year, guys. Let's organizing, protesting, striking, boycotting, and talking to people in real life. We need to have like fucking voter vote trees, where we are constantly talking to each other and making sure that everybody knows what's going on and correcting misinformation and propaganda and stuff like that. Like we're in 5-alarm fire territory, but that doesn't mean run and hide. That means do more work, do more things. And I know we're all struggling with cost of living and our fucking bosses are fucking stomping on our necks with their fucking gold boots. So don't do everything. Just do a little bit every day. Don't overwhelm yourself. I reward myself from all the work that I do. Me and my wife are going to go see a bunch of movies tomorrow, and then we're going to go get a nice meal. So don't forget to take care of yourself as you're doing the work. But I want to be clear about how essential it is that we do this work. Like, we are in the bad place now. Saxon says, thoughts on Trump dismantling the Board of Education? He has the motivation to do it because the worse our education is in this country, the easier it is for people to fall for misinformation and propaganda. He can't legally do it with an executive order, so it also has the double benefit for him of testing the cages and seeing what he can get away with. He probably will not be able to pass any legislation to actually dismantle the Department of Education, but he can still do all of the wildly and illegal and unconstitutional things that him and Doge are doing with, like withholding funds and firing people illegally and shit like that. So yeah, is it going to happen like the way it's supposed to happen? No, but that does not mean that it's not going to happen. Let's see here. Bailey Renee says, the problem is no one believed we could lose our democracy, and now we're here. People still don't believe it. People still think that we are in the regular times. That's part of the reason why I'm doing this, is to not only to wake people up, but to get other people to join the army of waking people up. Let's be part of let's do this all together, guys. I want to make sure that you guys are not just watching me like hopium, making sure that you're actually doing the work. I'm hoping that when I talk, you guys start moving, as opposed to just being like, oh, I'm so happy to watch my Jarrett gets angry at Republicans daily show, So yeah, we got to do the work. We got to recruit other people to do the work. That's how we get out of this, guys. That is the only way that we get out of this. No one's coming to save us. It's just us. Max Aubney says, what happens when we finally do lose our democracy? What happens then? Hypothetically, of course. Then we're talking about like fucking, we got to start, like doing the guerrilla style shit, where we're like having secret meetings underground and, then we're talking about Russia, North Korea territory where, people start saying that they like what Trump is doing, not because they do, but just because if they say that they don't, they could get thrown into a fucking gulag in El Salvador. That's the thing we're trying to avoid, guys, because that's like the worst version of this, where we have even more work to do and it becomes even more precarious to do the work. Let's see here. Lisa Calcano says, I'd leave. Well, not everybody has that luxury, Lisa. I've definitely talked about it with my wife. It is not something that we are not considering. Let's make it so that we don't have to leave. Is my hope, is what I pray for. Let's see here. Tina Cake says, what's going to happen to the innocent Venezuelan immigrants that were flown to El Salvador? I don't know, Tina, and that is fucking terrifying. The fact that these people who we have no evidence that they are criminals, we have no evidence that they are gang members, and ICE and Trump and Elon Musk just said they get to go to a fucking, fucking work camp run by a dictator, a violent dictator, just because we said so. And that can happen to any one of us. It's fucking terrifying, guys. Yeah. So, listen, guys. Yeah, sorry guys. You know, like I said, I'm a little cranky today. So, and thank you for letting me vent in this way, my man. Samurai Destroyer says, "What is your opinion on Kyle Rittenhouse? He's an unbelievable piece of shit. You know, I knew he was full of shit. I knew he was lying. I knew that he went there to do violence, and couldn't have. He was so excited about shooting people when he got there. So yeah, that guy fucking sucks. I'm gonna do my outro. I gotta start wrapping things up, guys. Samurai Destroyer says wrong. Okay, buddy. Yeah, thank you everybody for being here. I appreciate it. Please be a follower. Please support this work. Please do the work with me. You know, if the choice is between you just following me versus you being somebody who is like activated and organized and like you're in a swing state or you're in a red state and you're actually going out there and doing that, I would rather you do that and never watch my channel ever fucking again. But if you want to keep on supporting me, like, share, follow, tell your friends how great my live stream is. If you know people who are squishy voters that need to be convinced, send them my way. If you know people who are not voters, who you want to be convinced voters, send them my way. Like, my DMs are open. I'll talk to them on this live stream. I'll talk to them via email. I'll fucking do this shit, man. You just got to find them and just got to bring them to me. If you can support me financially, I appreciate that too, but nobody has to. I would much rather you guys pay for your food and your medicine and your rent than send me a couple of nickels and dimes. But you can if you like. I have a Patreon. I have a store. Both of those are on my website, and you can send gifts on TikTok, Twitch, and YouTube. If there was a question that you wanted answered that I was not able to get to, again, my DMs are open, and you can email me through my website, jaredbernstein.com. Yeah, my normal streaming schedule is Monday through Friday, starting around 11:30 a.m. Pacific time. I often will start early because I really like doing these. And yeah, I'm going back on the road again in a month, so that is when I will have to have a less consistent schedule, but for the foreseeable future, you can catch me here 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, starting around 11:30 a.m. Pacific time. And yeah, just please do the work, guys. Do not be hopeless. Do not be cynical. Do not be despondent. They want you to give up. Fuck those guys, man. They want you to think that resistance is futile. Fuck those guys. And they tell you, like, why even bother fucking fighting? Both parties are the same. Voting doesn't do anything. Tell them, suck my butthole, you weird-ass fucking dork. Your hope and your work is resistance. And taking care of yourself is resistance. And taking care of the people that you know and that you love and your neighbors and your coworkers, that's resistance. So just do the work, guys. If we all do the work, then nobody has to do a lot of work. And let's all take care of each other. No one lets go of anyone's hand. That's the way that you survive authoritarian governments. So, yeah. Again, sorry that we went a little hot today, guys, but boy, oh boy, oh boy. Hunter, is there anything we can do like on the daily basis? Yeah, if you live in a red district or a red state, or if you have Republican state, government members, put political pressure on them. You know, fucking live at their offices, blow up their phone lines. That stuff makes a huge difference. Wait. Protesting, Tesla dealerships and Tesla stores. That's something you can do. There's a group called Indivisible, which is excellent. Not only do they have like protests and shit that you can join onto, but they have a handbook for how to do this. So if you want to grab like 5 of your friends, they teach you how to start a political action group where you blow up your representatives' phones, and they teach you how to be effective at actually pushing them and letting them know that you're not going to fucking put up with this shit. So yeah, Indivisible is a great place to check out for that. The most important thing, though, is voting in these upcoming elections. We got midterms in 2026. We got a Supreme Court race happening in Wisconsin that Elon Musk is literally bribing people for. He's saying he's going to give you $100 if you vote for his Supreme Court justice in Wisconsin. So fucking fuck that guy, and let's win that Supreme Court seat in Wisconsin. And we got 3 special elections coming up, 2 in Florida and 1 in New York, happening on April 1st. If you live in those districts, vote and organize to get out more people to vote. They are red districts, so it's going to be a tough go, but we can win that if people do the fucking work. Hunter says, I live in Wisconsin, a lot of red over here. I plan to vote blue. Excellent, Hunter. Please, do you do the work, Hunter? Like, do you also organize and talk to people about this shit? Because that's how we win. SubLOEQ says, how do we get Trump out of office? Organizing, protesting, and voting. If we vote in enough Democrats, we could impeach Donald Trump in 2026. He could be out of office in 2026. He wouldn't even get to finish his fucking term. If we got 60 seats in the Senate and we took over the House, that's it. That's the end of Donald Trump. Lauren, what are your thoughts on SB 21, the Elon-backed corporate grift bill in Delaware? I have not read into that. Middy's Mad says, how do you align yourself? Well, I know I'm pretty subtle about it, but yeah. I'm a Democrat. I'm a lefty. Rudy says, why don't you try Fantasyland? I don't know what that is. Kay says he was impeached last time and he was still in office. Yes, because we did not have enough votes in the Senate to fully impeach him, and Republicans have exactly zero spine. So yeah, Mitch McConnell, who's now is like, oh, I guess I shouldn't have let Trump take over the whole fucking government. He had an opportunity to whip votes for removing Trump from office and making it so he could never run for president again. And he instead said, oh, well, he's not president anymore, so our guys will be fine with this, So yeah, guys, it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy, but we can do it. It's not impossible. And anybody who tells you that it's impossible is fucking full of shit. And if we don't win it, it's only because enough people didn't do the work. That's it. That's the whole fucking thing, man. Let's see here. Lisa Calcagano says, I can't imagine 4 years of this. Better be over in 2. Yeah, let's do the work, man. Rocky777 says, you need 67. Sorry. Yes, I got that confused with the filibuster. I apologize. He is correct. We would need 67 seats in the Senate, which again, hard. Very, very hard, but not impossible. Kay says, JD Vance is no better. He's tied to Project 2025. Yes, but it is better to get rid of Trump. JD Vance is potentially also culpable and potentially impeachable. But if Democrats had a impeachable number of senators and House members, and we got rid of Trump and JD Vance suddenly became president, then JD Vance would have to abide by the law. He would have to abide by the law. He wouldn't be able to pass any legislation. He would have to continue funding every organization that has been voted for by Congress. It would be a drastically different world that we would be living in. And additionally, JD Vance doesn't have the fucking riz that Trump has. He'd be a fucking neutered ding dong. It would be like Ted Cruz being president, Middy's Mad says, do you think that mass immigration is good for our country? Yeah, immigrants are a net positive for our country. Kay says he's just going to continue to break the law like Trump. Yeah, but he's not going to be able to get away with it because, again, the only reason why Trump is getting away with this is because he has Congress. He has them in the fucking palm of their hand. Because Republicans are either too scared to do anything about it, or they're exactly as corrupt and full of shit as he is. All right, everybody, I got to run. I got a lunch date. Thank you for being here, everybody. I'll see you guys on Monday. Have a great weekend. Please do the work. Please join me in this revolution. And yeah, we'll get through this together, guys. All right, take care, everybody. Good weekend. Goodbye. Goodbye, 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 goodbye. Goodbye, 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 goodbye. Goodbye, 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 goodbye. Goodbye, 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 goodbye.